in the lobby right now, so...
Yeah, it looks like the host switch is just getting everyone together on proper teams. So that's going to be it for us buying time. We will be getting ourselves right into the match as players get themselves set up as far as weapons are concerned. And we cut into Team Europa versus Squids Calamity.
I am totally ready for this. I believe that Squids Calamity is going with their original team without that sub that switched in the middle of last set. This is our first time seeing Team Europa on stream, and I think that we're going to get a good match.
It should be.
Does Europa mean Europe? European?
You know, I don't know. Europa definitely refers to the landmass that is Europe, but I think it's a bit more vague than like the literal like country lines that are drawn.
Got it.
I'm gonna need someone to check that in the chat. I don't have Google. I don't have thumbs.
So I think our first match is Rainmaker at Macomart, which is right. Yes, it is.
Oh, this is a very pleasant surprise. All right, cool. So this isn't written down on our notes, which is no biggie. Because this is another one of my favorite combinations. I love Macomart. I think it's a fantastically designed map for all sorts. And weapon comps, we got a lot of fun stuff going on that's working really well on this map.
We have a double dually sculptures on, I believe it's Team Europa. Team Europa, yes. That's a really interesting pick, actually, because there is a custom and a vanilla, which gives them a little bit of variety, although vanilla tends to have a little bit of a worse reputation than the custom.
Right. But at the same time, is like looking at like the base weapon, it's got a lot of accuracy for what it wants to do as far as like, its picks, but then naturally it's going to be able to ink well. And that's coupled in with other good inking like midline weapons.
Yeah, definitely. The push by Team Europa didn't really quite make it that far. They kind of didn't.
They're dropping the ball here a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they pushed ahead quite enough to be able to take that and giving Squids Calamity that lead back.
That lead almost the whole game in this push. Look at this.
That is a wipe. That seems like a GG to me. They even got the booyahs and the this ways going on. That was a clean match.
Oh.
That was a chef's kiss. You couldn't see it, but it was a chef's kiss.
So, all right. So that's the problem with Rainmaker is that like it's a game of inches and miles, quite literally. But if you don't make that initial push really count, you don't leave the Rainmaker somewhere where it's going to be hard for it to like move anywhere substantially. Especially with Macomart, where you have the option of jumping off the map, putting it back to center. Like, you leave yourself in that position to just get completely thrown back, and that was a complete clapback.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see that Team Europa's ranks maybe don't compare nearly as highly as, Team Squids Calamity, but they could have made that first push.
Right.
Squids Calamity was 3 down, and they could have had the lead at that point.
They could have did something, but I feel like they just needed to organize themselves better as far as the plays were concerned. Because, all those picks give you just an open lane to move. But if you're not well coordinated with your team to do so, it becomes a bit more difficult. A little bit more communication, a little bit better coordination. We could see ourselves possibly going to a Game 3 again, but got to get through Game 2 first.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that, like you said, you need that coordination. I'm hoping that Team Europa really brings it in that area.
What is happening here? Game 2 is blanking us to Clam Blitz on Skipper. Where's PK Sparks? This Clam Blitz apologist actions that are occurring.
I personally really like Clam Blitz on Skipper, but don't tell anybody.
You're going to have to share with the class. Why are you liking this?
It's very straightforward. It's just one push, honestly. I know people sometimes they decide, I'm going to do pincer tactics, 2 on top, 2 from the bottom.
Oh, that don't work here.
Yeah, I would say it's a little risky. So people hate it because it's so quick. I love it because it's so quick.
I can understand that. Skipper Pavilion's the type of map that, regardless of any of its game modes, it doesn't leave a lot of interpretation to the map. It's very much like base, and then whatever part of the map is your designated play field, with not a lot of room to maneuver around else.
Yeah.
With Clam Blitz, there's even like the amount of the clam spawns and their locations is also like notably tighter compared to other maps. So it's definitely more out there compared to other Clam Blitz maps that we see in competitive play. But maybe that's a benefit for some people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see we've already seen the difference in play styles from team to team. So we don't want to count any play style out too soon.
Of course. Well, I do want to see if we see some weapon changes.
Oh, a sploosh.
Oh, who lit that on the map?
I see your prejudice is coming out a little bit.
Oh, heavens.
Oh.
Is this fun? Ink?
A respawn Punisher sploosh. I am hoping to... Yes, let's go!
All right. We're in foreign terror for me. Milana, take the wheel. I don't know what's happening, but things look too fun, dynamic, and different.
I believe that Team Squids Calamity just made a push in. They got the 20 in. I'm not actually sure they can push any farther for now.
Yeah, no, it's not looking the case. Although, it's worth noting that, at least looking from that top-down view, a lot of members of Yellow Team, when they were alive, they duck and covered super quick. They did not want to be involved while that net was open. So I'm curious to see if the answer back as far as like what they do in the net is going to be strong. And a lot of that pick has anything to see.
I can imagine, since I see that there is a brush on both sides, they want to use that brush to their advantage. They want to place themselves underneath that basket, and they want to make those pushes count.
Yeah, positioning on this map is super important, like more so than I would say other map mode combinations, because you're like in regards to where your team can jump on you, leaves you a sitting duck, like really badly, and you don't have a lot of room to maneuver yourself. On top of the fact that there's just not a lot of space, like there's also a decent amount of space that's important to keep a note of. You can't get ink on from the walls that are ahead to the grates that are present and the water pit.
I believe that Rapturo was really trying to get their teammates to jump in, but I don't know if it worked quite as well having Team Europa come back just a little bit sooner than they thought.
Answering restart for Inkstorm, but not able to win out the trade. So Blue Team take a little bit of a lead here as far as the plays are concerned, and they're sitting on like an all-right lead. 70 points is not bad. They just need to make sure that there's no further retaliation. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to bounce off of that, where you don't have like that many points built up, and the clams that you need to break down on your like multiplier is just less and less. Although that's a great way to bounce back.
I think that what Squids Calamity is doing well is that they're not relenting. They make the push. They're collecting the clams and they're making another push right away. They're not waiting for them to make a counter push before making their push. They're really pushing Team Europa.
Like they're doing a good job of keeping the pressure up, and like I like the idea of like constantly breathing down the opposing team's like throat. But like I feel like this map just invites that style of play. Like regardless if that goes in line with how players are. Like you're so close to each other already in such a cramped space, it's gonna get uncomfortable. Someone's gonna snap.
And we can see here that Squids Calamity has a lot of turf control. They have pretty much that lane, the corridor in the middle, completely owned.
Yeah, that's property.
Did someone get pushed up?
Yo, he got popped into the water.
No.
Tragedy.
Let's see who gets that pop first, and it goes to Squids
The worst
Calamity.
kind of denial.
That would have been a great denial on the side of Team Europa had that clam been able to go in.
Oh, it's all right. They got their just desserts. Not only did it miss, it went right into the water.
Oh, that was unfortunate.
Shenanigans are afoot here. But nonetheless, like, Squids Calamity still maintaining a fantastic lead.
And it's worth mentioning that Squids Calamity is making those pushes, but they're making really small pushes really often, which sometimes can be successful also.
Like, it's worked out as far as keeping their net open, which, as we just saw a little bit ago, is the best possible way of denying.
Oh, no, boing. Fallen into the water, feels bad.
Another tragic loss.
To Inkling Touch Water.
So, you know, one thing I do want to highlight, the fact that I don't think Squids Calamity has had an opportunity where they don't have a power clan in play. They just constantly make sure that one is built to threaten space at all times. But finally start to see an answer from Europa. Not for long, though.
Hey, it puts some points on the board, and hopefully they can make a really big push back. I think the best thing about Clan Blitz is that you never really know. The game isn't over until it's really, really over. Like 10 seconds into overtime over.
No, I would agree. This is another mode very similar to Rainmaker, where like you always have that opportunity to like snap back on the opposing team, especially if you coordinate with your team well. But Calamity hasn't given that opportunity like at all.
If they can get a clam in, that would be game. However, I think this is gonna be an opportunity for Team Europa to make that comeback.
They're getting their picks. They just need to carve themselves a path forward.
It's not looking too good. Empire being the last one alive on that team, it was a tough matchup.
It was. Like, especially feel like just like the map mode combination just didn't fit well to them.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. There's a lot of like little flubs here and there from both sides. At least made it very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, for sure. We see there's A ranks on one team and X ranks on the other. I honestly hope that this motivates Team Europa to really work on communication and work on, being better mechanically and stuff.
Yeah. No, I would agree. There's like, it's just a certain amount of like time that you have to put into the game just to be able to understand where you're going. Like, you can play the game casually, but like you will eventually reach a point where you plateau, and the only way to push past that is like actually dedicating time to play.
Yeah.
If not taking it super seriously, just then playing a lot. Which, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I entered my first LAN at Beacon, I was not very good.
And there's no problem with that.
I'm gonna call out Dude real quick. He told me when I entered my first LAN and he was watching me play, there were times where he was like, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't rush in. Don't tunnel." Like, just in his head. So I feel like I've come a long way since then, and I think any team who comes to like a LAN and wants to get better can really fix their mindset to kind of accommodate for that.
It's always possible. And like, everyone's got to start somewhere. Like, this could be their first LAN. This could be their first time playing on stream. That's another thing.
First